I look crazy, and who knows how the video quality will turn out, but I'm going to talk about this book because I really enjoyed it and it was really good. This might be a little spoilery, I don't know, but if you haven't read it, then it's really good. And even though it's a chunky one, I mean, kind of for me, I guess, because I'm used to reading like 300, 400 page books. This one's like 567 pages in print. But I really enjoyed it. I thought that most of the characters were well-rounded for the most part. I can't speak. But yeah, and let's get into it. I think my favorite character of this book had to be Isabel, just because she's a badass, really, and I love historical fiction. I love when books in historical fiction have well-rounded characters and women who are badasses. I think if you look on my Goodreads, there are a lot of books where I do read historical fiction where the women are badasses, but Isabel is badass in this book. And this is kind of a spoiler, I almost cried when I found out that she had died by the end of the book. Because I really thought that the person who was narrating the book in 1995 was her. Like, I have thought it was her, but I was like, I'm not going to be surprised if it was her sister, Vianne. I don't know if I'm saying that right. But I wouldn't have been surprised if it was her. But I was really, really hoping it was Isabel, and it wasn't. And that kind of disappointed me because I wanted her to be alive and have a long, happy life by the end of the book. But I guess she didn't. It doesn't specify when she died, but it's kind of implied when she died, which is shortly after she came home from the camp, I think. At least that's what I interpreted it, is she died shortly after she came back from the camp. But I really liked, at the end, I really liked the reunion with Vianne and Gaten. I don't know how to say his name. I really liked that. It was really sweet, and how he named his daughter after Isabel. That was so sweet. I loved it. And it's just, I loved how the book followed both Vianne's transformation through the war, as well as how Isabel did things throughout the war. Because Isabel, I guess, kind of, in my opinion at least, started out as a badass, and then became even more of a badass. But this is coming from someone who used to get herself into a lot of trouble in school. So I was like, oh, what a badass. She's doing something with her, I guess, what do you call it? Her defiance of things. She's actually doing something with it that's productive, but was seen as really dangerous at the time. And I really love seeing that. And I like seeing the love story kind of progress, because at the beginning of the book, I thought that you wouldn't see Gaten ever again. I thought he just disappeared forever until you do see him again. And I was so happy about that. And, sorry, deep breath, I'm talking too much. And so that's why I really wanted to see Isabel and Gaten, or I wanted to see Isabel have a long, happy life, because I love the love story between her and Gaten. I wanted to see that blossom more, but you don't get to see that because Isabel dies at some point. And I wish that you could have seen, that's my main criticism, is I wanted to see the love story bloom more, but I loved what you did get to see as well. So it's not much of a criticism, but a criticism to some extent. And it's just, I don't know, I wish you got to see the Julian's reaction to learning the truth about who his father is. but the book ends before that. But you just know that the end does tell him who his father is, I think, or it's implied. There's a lot of stuff that feels like it's implied, but at the same time, I think it's good that it's implied because it leaves some stuff up to the imagination. And I don't know, I'm talking with my hands a lot because I'm nervous. But there's a lot that I really did like about this book, and I highly recommend it. I love the writing style of Kristen Hannah. I love what is put in and what is left out. I mean, I do wish there was some stuff that wasn't left out, but I love, for the most part, what is left in. And I think the character that had the best redemption arc was Dan and Isabel's father, because, big spoiler, he ends up confessing to being the Nightingale, even though he's not. Big spoiler. And even though he treated Isabel and Vianne really shitty, he does that one beautiful thing of, I guess, getting Isabel out of being executed, and that was the biggest redemption arc I saw. Was he starts out really shitty at the beginning of the book, and then ends up doing this really incredible selfless thing for his daughters, which shows his love for them. And like, I wish he could have shown it in a different way so he didn't have to die, and that him and his daughters could have had a beautiful life after the war. But at the same time, it was a really beautiful thing that did happen, and I really loved that. I mean, it's like a shitty thing to happen, but at the same time, it kind of like shows his character, in that even though the Great War did change him, he wasn't shitty overall. He just was dealing with it really poorly. And so, this is the biggest redemption arc, is just him finally showing his love to his daughters and saving the life of one of them. But his life is taken in return, so it's a kind of a lose-lose situation, kind of, I think. But yeah, I love the book. I recommend it to anybody. Even though this is kind of spoilery, I still recommend reading it if you haven't read it yet. This is probably the best book I've read this year, even though I've only read 6. But I'm hoping posting book videos will hold me accountable to reading more books this year. Reading more books than one a month. Because I used to be in school, not anymore, because I graduated. And so hopefully I have more time to read now. That's not academic reading. Hopefully I have more time to read books for fun. And so I want to hold myself accountable by making videos about books. So hopefully that works. Anyways, I hope this was an okay video, not all over the place. I don't know how to do this yet, so we'll see how I evolve over time. Anyways, bye.